移住のためにスペインからニューヨークに降り立った幸せなカップル。
Passports, please. Follow me.
Is everything all right? We base it on personal experiences going to the United States. And it's stories that happen behind closed doors.
Now, for the first time, like audiences all around the world are understanding systematically racism.
They are scared of going outside their house because they're going to detain them. It's not just the airport now.
クロスリーグ1on1スペシャル始まります。今日のテーマはですね、トランプ 2.0 のアメリカ入国審査の現実です。その名も入国審査という映画が近々公開されるんですけど、私も見たんですが本当に素晴らしい映画です。簡単にストーリーを言うと、スペインからアメリカに移住しようとしているカップルが、飛行機こうやって降り立つんですけれど、突然ですね入国審査に連行されて、別室でいろんな尋問を受けるんですね。でここからもうサスペンスが始まって、そのカップルの中を引き裂いていくような尋問が始まって、まさに今のアメリカというか国境が存在していろんな出入り移民とかに対する厳しい現実もドキュメンタリーのように描いている素晴らしい作品です。この作品もすごくてですね、撮影期間がわずか17日間、たった$65万の低予算で作られた映画なんですが、素晴らしい映画なんで監督2人をお呼びして話を聞いてみたいし、ぜひクロスリーグの皆さんには今のこの移民政策とか厳しいアメリカについて考えてもらいたいなと思います。では早速ゲストをお呼びしましょう。So Juan and Alejandro, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I saw your film. It was wonderful, spectacular. So are you guys excited your film is being released in Japan?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The fact that the film is traveling, it's a great way to actually talk about the inspiration of the film. I think that it should cross as many borders as possible, so we can all talk about it.
Do you think this topic is very universal, especially at this moment? It's time of time.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, we base it on personal experiences, just as being Venezuelan.
Okay.
Going to the United States, and we kind of felt that, from that point of view, that very specific point of view, which is ours, and our experiences going into the States, it's more. We thought we had a story to tell there because it wasn't told before. Because it's something that happens usually at airports, which is like an in-between space.
Right.
And it's stories that happen behind closed doors, and we've been there several times as family members, friends. So there was a communal thing in saying we should do something with this. We should do something with this, and we just went for it. We just went, and the fact that it's the United States, which is probably one of the most, I think, aggressive places to go through customs. It clicked. It made sense for us to do it, And besides that,
How about you, Juan? Do you agree? Do you think this is a very universal topic?
It is a very universal topic. I think that now, for the first time, audiences all around the world are understanding what we've been dealing with all of our lives.
Okay.
Which is dealing with a systematically racism that has had so many countries with a lot of power, with a lot of economic powers, towards countries that have been colonized and are not in a good economic position. That's why we migrate. We're just human beings trying to get as much as a decent life that you can have in the north, mainly in the north. And this is the best moment to talk about it because now I think people are starting to believe that what we've been saying all of our lives is true. Trump has made that believable because he doesn't want to hide it. It didn't start with Trump. It has always been like that.
Always been like that. Because you guys from Venezuela, right?
Yes.
Do you think immigration is getting worse and worse, or do you think this is the way it is from the beginning?
From Venezuela?
Yeah.
I mean, there's many different moments. In which that has happened, but years ago it was not like that. My parents are from Colombia.
Yeah.
They moved from Colombia to Venezuela in the 70s because it was a paradise. You have family that also migrated to Venezuela, and the fact that now Venezuelans are going abroad is something that has not been experienced before. The terrible economic politics of after Chavez and Maduro have made the country go into this crazy madness, promising a beautiful idea that has not been done and fulfilled.
Right. very simple. It's like a documentary film. So basically, the couple. So this is the thing that they're a common law couple, marriage. They come to New York, and they're not criminals. They're like normal couples, but they're suddenly being inspected. So why did you set the scene like this? Very simple, few characters.
Well, because we thought, again, it came from an intimate experience. We wanted to tell something within the confines of a small room. And within that room, we thought we could play out many things. And that being said, it's like having like a geopolitics of a relationship in there. And it's about, it's not only about a system that is kind of being the officers oppressing who they are questioning because they think that Diego is from Venezuela and there's something questionable about him. It's also about a couple who kind of faces in real life, in real moment, at the worst possible time, an inflicted mistrust by these officers.
Right.
So we just thought if we could keep the tension here, it might make a good story.
Right. It was interesting that the officers, how the characters are played, they're not, mean, bad villains, but they're trying to do their job. So why did you set the tone like that?
Yeah, for us it was important that everyone there had, their own background, and there are layers of many different ways of why they do what they are doing. And for us, it was important not to show a villain as it is, but also a human being that had gotten it all wrong and forgot it sometimes where they're originally from and how dehumanizing the whole process is. So we had a lot of information with the actors. We talked about a lot about their relationship, even though it doesn't show in the film, because it was really important for us not to be just a wall. It's like all of those layers are there, and how they react to each other, to each other questions are intended in order to make all those layers of being you become this thing because the system also asks you to place that, and you choose to do it.
So I really like the actors, how they play the characters. So you mentioned that it was based on your personal experience, but did the actors also experience a similar thing?
Well, yeah, Alberto is originally from Argentina, and he moved to Madrid about 20 years ago plus. So he immediately felt connected to the character because he had migrated himself.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
So in a way, he felt I'm from another place and I'm coming to a new place. So he kind of felt basically more or less the same thing in Spain, For Bruna, she's from Barcelona, but she's a sensitive enough person to know, of course, what happens when you go through these processes. And she was also being very, she knows that her, as a Spanish citizen, has privileges that, whereas Diego or Alberto as Argentina do not have facing the authorities. So it all kind of, it made sense. Casting-wise, story-wise, everybody's sort of integrated. And the officers like Laura is from the Dominican Republic, but she lived in New York for 2 decades or so. So she really knows this process and these characters and the way the United States, behaves when people are arriving to their territory, and it's so hostile. And Ben, he's originally from New York, but he's been living in Madrid, and he even told us, as a joke, okay, guys, I know what you mean. I know this type of person, so
they know it from there.
Yeah, they know it. So everybody was kind of, feeling it from the gut. Yeah.
I want to talk about Elena, the female character. So in the film, I don't want to be a spoiler, but she was asked, where are you from? And she says, Barcelona, not Spain. What does it mean?
That's a great question, because it's a layer that sometimes you don't understand if you don't live in Spain. But there's a lot of people from Catalonia that feel they should be an independent state from Spain. And as much as we encourage the diversity of every single culture that lives within the Spanish border, for our character meant I want to become Spanish citizenship, and you want out. So in all of the geopolitics and things that Alejandro was mentioning before, there's one that's really important, which is that becoming an independent state for Catalonia. But for Diego, that wouldn't work because he wanted to become part of, a European nationality. And for her, it's really important. This is something that you will see often in Spain. Like, oh, you're Spanish. Like, no, I'm Catalan. Rightfully so. It's been, for many, many years during the dictatorship. And even after, a lot of people have been trying to, eliminate Catalan and the language and the culture. So we wanted to portray that in Elena.
I think one of the interesting topics you laid out is the tension between the state power, the power state, and individual freedom, which is represented by the inspectors. And these couples, so they're not officially married, they're like common law marriage. So also in Japan, but around the world, there's a lot of types of couples, they're diverse type of couples, but when they are inspected, they have to reveal themselves or maybe tell secrets that their partners even don't understand or know about it. What were you trying to tell the story? What kind of message do you want to deliver?
Well, the thing is, again, the couple, we wanted to put, I'm sorry to say this, but we wanted to put this couple through through the worst possible situation ever,
yes.
and see what we could come up with, in terms of how are they going to get out of this, and it just became really natural for us. Like when you're sort of, like you say, inspected by these people, you have to answer their questions.
Yes.
Like you're obliged to answer their question, no matter their nature.
And they're pretty rude, right? They're asking about your sexual life and everything.
Yeah, but that's the tip of the iceberg. I mean, that's nothing. I mean, I'm not saying detriment to film. It's just that is a natural part of the questioning in the United States. I mean, if you, for instance, if you go and legally and consensually marry an American citizen, you will have immigration come to your flat or whatever it is that you live continually for years to see if you're actually a couple. And of course, they're going to ask you about your sexual life and what toothbrush you use and what, et cetera, and whatnot. But it's invasive. It's abusive. It's psychological terror. Yeah.
I thought the inspectors were trying to tear their relations apart. It felt really terrible for me.
Well, they're trying to question it.
Yes.
Which is, what happens when you migrate to another place, especially if you're suspicious because of your origin. They will ask you many things that you probably wouldn't have thought about the question of that, because why would you? But in these spaces, they are like trying you as if you were guilty, and you have to prove that you are not. But the premise is like you start here and you're guilty of something, I'm going to find out what.
Why was this in a small room? What intentions are behind this?
Well, we try to convey that what happens in that small room is so... it's an isolated thing. It's a place where you're completely vulnerable and you don't know the outcome of anything. It's like you're being thrown in a hole and you don't see the way out. And our idea was always to stay in the room. Always. Except for the change room. But just to stay, keep it tight. Not distract. Let's not go outside. Let's not see what she's up to while she's waiting. Let's just keep it there, keep the tension going, and that's really like life-based stuff.
So Juan, this movie made me really nervous, especially the sound.
Yeah.
So it was in a small room, but outside there's some sound. I don't know what was exactly happening. So it felt me very scared.
Well, I'm sorry for that. That's part of the intention.
Intention.
When did you last visit Venezuela?
Last year.
For how long?
A month.
Why? It's fine.
Visit family.
Anything else?
I renewed my passport.
You went all the way to Venezuela to renew your passport.
It's faster if you do it there.
We brought some technical aspects in order to have the audiences be sitting in that room. Because once you're in there and you start feeling like you're sitting with the characters, and feeling that in the first line is when you start feeling the anxiety inside of you as well. So we didn't want to bring any, crazy camera movements, any, tricks, but we just wanted to keep it simple. And the same thing was with the audio. We just have to take out many layers that are usually used in a film to make it more real. The silence is uncomfortable, and so we brought that into the editing room, and we think it worked really well as much as that construction thing.
Yes.
When you watch the film. It's also going through the emotional path that Diego is living. So that was the mean for that.
You mentioned that you didn't want to just create the villain. And let's talk about the inspector, the women inspector. So she was speaking in English first, but as we go on, she suddenly speaks Spanish.
Diego Hernandez Armas, born July 14, 1981.
Yes?
¿Pero qué le pasa a esta tía? Ens putejarà perquè sí. ¿Cuántas veces tenemos que pasar por esto?
Cuantas veces sea necesario.
That kind of felt like she's trying to make a personal connection, but what was the intention behind that?
Well, the thing is that, whenever we would go to the States,
Yes.
usually if we get taken to the secondary inspection room, it would be by someone who has a Latin American name.
Right. That's true, yes.
And you would find it odd because you're like, but dude, we're alike. We're the same, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it just so happens that particularly some people, maybe not all of them, but some people that have, Latin American descendants, they forget who they are. They forget where they come from, and they kind of become that.
That's an interesting
system.
Point. Yeah.
Right. So
part of the system.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Laura's character is basically that. It's someone that maybe might have had a story behind her, but she's into this, and she's bought into this, and she's acting the way, they're telling her to. And the thing about empathizing, whether it's Spanish or English, it's more of a trick, because just when you think she's going to empathize, she hits them back again.
Right.
So
yeah.
But those are tactics. Those are tactics that they use because they go in zigzags, and they
like bad cop and good cop, and
but also basically when she's on her own with them, it's like I'm gonna say something soft here, but actually I'm gonna go this way and say something soft here, and then I'm gonna hit you in the middle of something.
Yeah.
So
that's scary.
That's verbally very violent in a way. Yeah.
She was an interesting character because she might have this diverse background. She knows about Latino, Spanish, English, but like you mentioned, she was, as an inspector, she was just a part of the system and not an individual human being. So that also scared me.
Yeah. And the fact that she speaks Spanish also takes away a tool that the couple has to communicate.
Right.
So it's more like, I know who you are, I know what you're saying, I know your secrets. So you feel more threatened.
So let's talk about the actual world today. So why did you set this film, we mentioned Trump, America under the Trump administration? What message did you want to send to the audience?
Well, us as Venezuelans, we've always been very heavily influenced by the United States.
Yes.
It was sold as something of course they say it's an American dream, but it's actually a nightmare. We all know it now. But we've always been sold this idea that if you go up north, you'll have a very prosperous life, and etc.
Like American dream, or
yes,
okay,
exactly.
Okay.
But it's all been a lie, and that's we wanted to set it because it's based on experiences we know, and we just did that from the heart. Really, we did it from the heart. The thing is that we started writing, I can't remember the exact year, but maybe 2015, 2016, and Trump hadn't been in just yet. He
was about to become president.
Right. And so then, we shot the film in 2022, and yes, we set the film in 2019 in a Trump term, mainly because it just makes it all more evident.
Yes.
The problems and the migration policies. But having said that, migration policies in the States have been horrible
Right.
forever.
Forever, yeah.
So, but this has made it more and more evident. And now if we fast forward to 2025, it's sad that for the wrong reasons, you might think, okay, the film is still relevant. I mean, it's great that it's relevant because it brings dialogue, it brings
Right,
debate. But it's actually very scary because for us, our particular experience was to set it in an airport, like in that limbo where you're neither inside or outside a territory. But right now, as we speak, people that are there and they are legally there, they are scared of going outside their house because they're going to detain them. So it's not just the airport now. It's just like there.
They're everywhere. Yes.
So it's like if you would go outside now and you were like, I don't know what's going to happen to me. I don't know if I can go to work. I'm waiting on a petition. I'm waiting on an asylum approval. I'm waiting on whatever, whatnot, and it's really scary.
You're right. Because when I see interviews of like people in the United States, it's not just the airport. It's in your office or in your house or your school or universities. How about you, Juan?
Yeah, it's the same thing, and it's also like it seems a president is a reflection of the country.
Yes,
that's what it is. Someone who got many amount of votes to become that. So I think he has unveiled reality that has always been there, not only in airports, because for us it's also as problematic as the police officers are. Is the people who are not police officers, but they police the same idea.
Yeah, police. Yeah,
and they're like, you can have this certain job because you are Latino. You can come and say this because you are Latino. You can do or you can put music because you don't have the right to. And it's like, well, I don't know. It feels like there's a lot of this like white, system that is built around the things that you are okay to do socially, economically, work-wise. It's like as if they've forgotten that most of that power came from Europe and invaded America many years ago, and they are not. Really American.
Yeah.
If you want to address the thing, let's address it from the very beginning.
So United States was supposed to be a country of freedom, opportunities, and having that said, even this couple, they are looking for opportunities. The couple is like a contemporary dancer and also a kind of architect. So they still have hope for the United States. Do you think we are losing that hope? Do you think America will be worse, or what's your opinion?
Well, as the minute clocks, it's getting worse and worse. So I don't know what the outcome of from today to tomorrow is. But let's be honest. Every time they speak their mind, this administration, it's like a domino effect to the whole world. And
Are you going to show this film in the United States?
Yes, we did. We showed it, and it got selected at the South by Southwest.
Yeah, that's true.
Festival.
Yes.
And so we went to Austin,
What
Texas.
was the reaction in Texas? Did people
we were
it?
like Texas, but Austin is it's a different place.
Yeah,
but
and South by is more like
right. But the thing is that the reaction was there were two kinds of reactions.
Okay.
To sort of say that maybe there was some people that said, I'm sorry, I didn't know this happened in my country.
Okay.
Okay.
Now you know.
This is insane.
Okay. You should know. Yeah.
Right.
Everyone knows, but okay.
And the other, of course, it's a community of migrants because there's a huge community of people that have come from abroad to live in Texas and work hard.
Yes.
And
really good people.
Good people and integrate and like be part of have a life, whatever. And they were immediately connected to it. They're immediately connected because if they hadn't gone through that, they had a family member that had gone through that, or friendship or whatnot. So we got really, we got positive reviews out of there. It was, so it says something about them.
What were the reactions you heard from the
the
audience?
same. It was pretty much the same. Like people like really apologizing about it. But that's also like a way of people who said I didn't know this happened. It reflects their privilege of not questioning.
That's true. Yeah.
That same happens in Spain. We as South Americans in Spain are also like we have experienced racism.
Okay.
We have trouble to getting our papers right, and it's not. I think the States is a really good portrait of how these dynamics work, but that happen everywhere in the world. I'm sure here in Japan, there's many different stories that have the same type of relationship, and I think what we expect from this is like, let's talk about it. This has not been addressed to, so let's talk about it. And that happened in the States. We got Q&As that were like really, really, really long because some people were just standing to sharing their
own stories. Yeah.
And some people were just like, I'm sorry that this happened. Like I didn't know. But that's, it's just the beginning to start having the conversation.
So for them who said they didn't know, are they like saying that they just enter and like leave the airport like smoothly, or what didn't they know?
I don't know really about what they didn't know, but I think they didn't know maybe that, it's possible that these interrogatories would take place.
Okay.
They would think, in their own set of mind, it's like, no, they're protecting the borders.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? But
they chose not to know.
They chose not to. Okay. I asked this question because for the final part, I want to talk about Japan. So I'm very happy that people in Japan could watch this film because Japan is an island and we're surrounded by water. So there's no boundaries. And in Japan, compared to other parts of the world, it's actually not, but rather thought of as a homogeneous society. So we're not used to diverse people or immigrants at this moment. So when did you arrive in Japan?
Yesterday.
Yesterday, okay. Maybe you don't know much about Japan, but what are your hopes what kind of message do you want to send Japan? Because I think you'll get different reactions compared to people in Europe or in the United States. Yeah.
I mean, it's a big question mark.
You've just arrived yesterday.
But we kind of hope in either situation that the film brings a sort of unity to talk about things.
Right.
Just to have that exchange of anything. I don't know what that might be here, but it's to open up the debate about, about people, because we were talking about this earlier. It's not about, this thing about, people protecting the border or whatever.
Yeah.
It's come on, people. It should be the other way around. If someone is coming from a place that's in conflict, which is probably 90% of the people are doing in the world right now, because we're privileged. We have a roof over our head, we have food in the fridge, and we're okay. There are a lot of people that are not. So it's got to be the other way around.
Right.
It's like how can we help? How can we help? How can we build trust? How can we build a community?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they're just normal couples just trying to make a new living.
Yeah. But even the ones that, might not, you say, normal couple, don't have very jobs, they're coming from, you shouldn't be questioned for whatever reason if you're running away from something.
Yeah, they're escaping, so
Yeah, and most of the time, a lot of countries have a direct responsibility on why you're receiving migrants. Like, you cannot believe that people are not going to fly from a situation that economically benefits the place that you are. If all of the money, in South America just went to Europe and the States, it just makes sense that you want to go and pursue that type of living if you don't have it back at home.
I
agree. Wouldn't be like crazy to think that if you're in Gaza right now, you will need a place to arrive.
Yeah.
And the fact that if they go to the States, to Europe, to all the countries that are being part of this, some of them are just being part of this genocide, but keeping silence. The fact that you are not going to take responsibility of at least welcoming immigrants from that means that you are not aware or you don't want to acknowledge that your government is making that dynamic happen. Because most of the time we don't want to flee the place that we were born from.
It's their home. So
there's so many things you're attached
Yeah.
to. Why would you leave? You will leave if you're desperate, if you need to leave. And most of the time, all of these countries that complain about migration are the ones who started that dynamic.
Right. And I think you should not question them. So then approve this occupation is good, this occupation is bad, or you're not supposed to judge the reason or what they're supposed to do in America. So that
Well, there shouldn't be any.
There shouldn't be
any occupation.
No.
There shouldn't be any wars. There shouldn't be any violence. It's like, there is no. I think. We're governed. I mean, we're not governed. I'm just saying that the world is, as we know, it's ruled by a few, very male, retrograde, war, addicted power thing. So it's what good comes out of that?
That's true. How about you? Yeah.
Hopefully, we're just witnessing the end of that era. Like this is like the top, and we're just all gonna collapse, and the whole system gonna collapse, and hopefully we'll start all over again with a different system.
Yes, after everyone watch your movie, I think it will change. Yeah.
Hopefully. I mean, if it's the movie or whatever it is, but we should rethink things around the world because the fact that we live in a place that works doesn't mean that it works for everyone in the world. So we should address that.
Why did you decide to create a movie instead of going onto social media and complaining your experience, but creating a movie? What does it mean to you?
Well, I don't know, because we love film.
You love film.
We've been either working in film or around film, and we feel that it's still a very. We know that a film cannot change the world, but it can touch people. It can bring people to talk. It can bring people to debate, and also the good thing about film is that you can revisit it. It's an art form that you can go back to. You can, if you want, you can look at it as many times as possible, and you can get people together to talk about it. So it's an art form that is, yes, it is complicated and expensive, but it's certainly appreciated from that sense that you can go back to it. You know?
I agree. I think people should watch this movie again and again because you can see it from a different angle. Imagine what each characters are thinking about. So I think people should go back to it. And so, any final comments for our audience?
Well, please take the time to watch the film.
Okay.
It's not a very long film, so you can watch it many times.
Okay,
and
many
it has
times,
a lot of layers. Every
Yes.
time you watch it, you will discover more information, more information. And I think that the second and the third time you watch it, would you actually get the whole information on all the layers that we presented.
Okay, so I'll encourage our audience to watch it 3 times at least.
At least 3 times.
3 times. Okay. Any final comments for you?
No, I guess no. I just hope that in terms of what we're thinking about, where the world is going or whatever, it would be really great if the world. It's very utopia to say this, but it's like, why does humanity needs crisis in order to get together? Why? We've been over this many times, and it's like, but it's complicated. Why do we need crises to actually understand that we're the same persons, we're the same human beings, and we live and breathe, and
that's true.
So.
Okay, thank you so much, Juan and Alejandro. Thank you for producing this wonderful film and also coming to our show and sharing your experience and idea. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the conversation. はい、皆さんぜひチャンネル登録お願いします。So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.